To early man, the mysteries of nature were unfathomable. But one after another, civilizations across the globe began discovering thousands of powerful magical gods who gave them answers to the mystery. Slowly, individuals started to appear who questioned these explanations and began replacing myth and magic with observation and investigation. These men and women of what we now call science would arise in every generation to extend our knowledge and our technology. In fact, across the world right now, this global community of thinkers are working on projects that range from the theoretical battles of the classroom to experiments already set into motion. Many of their projects will fall at the hurdles before them, but all it takes is for just one of these to succeed, and the world will change forever. This is their future.
What's going to happen?
Something wonderful.
As most of the cost for space travel goes into the fuel required to leave the Earth, NASA's hopes for the space elevator are high. Early work being done into carbon nanotubes suggests a possible way of creating material strong enough to make the cable. A satellite in orbit will then lower and attach it to a platform at sea. Then elevator cars could carry people and payloads up and down the 22,000-mile journey under the power of a laser beaming energy to solar cells that run electric motors.
Hello, Dr. Floyd.
AI is being approached from a number of different angles. From the neurological, where groups have already created a robot with the biological brain of a rat, to the psychological, where we have robots like Kismet slowly learning rudimentary emotions and social skills. Scientists at Honda have developed Asimo, a robot that explores the world by sight, sound and touch, and can even recognise things it has never seen previously by associating characteristics of similar objects.
Baby toy car, Mini Cooper. Mini Cooper. Okay.
Bionic implants are already being implemented to aid the physically impaired, including bionic hearing, hearts and replacement limbs. And within the next 2 decades, they hope to develop bionic eyes for the blind.
Something wonderful.
Successful experiments have already teleported particles of light 100 miles. Within a decade, they will attempt to teleport water molecules, and within 2 decades, DNA, genes, or a cell. While human transporters will not be a reality anytime soon, much of this work suggests it could one day be a reality nonetheless. Several groups around the world have already proven independently that visible light can bend around an object and reform on the other side in a way consistent with invisibility. And at Brown University, a paralysed man had a chip inserted in his brain that was connected to a laptop. This enables him to move the mouse with his thoughts, and he can now use the internet, write emails and operate vehicles, all with the power of his mind.
What's going to happen?
Something wonderful.
Scientists now believe that a super collider constructed in space could find tiny wormholes which could then be enlarged with negative energy. The wormhole would be a sphere at each end connecting 2 points in space and time. By subjecting one end to a huge gravitational field, it could have its time clock stopped. So both spheres would be in the same place, but would now exist in different times. Theoretically, you could travel through one end any time in the future, and it would return you to the day the wormhole was originally created on the other side.
Hello, Dr. Floyd.
When a cooled superconductor and a magnet are brought together, they repel one another. There have already been high-speed trains, such as the maglev that run on this premise. The The next step theorized could be cars that float above the surface, or a suit that when worn would let you fly like Superman. Imagine near-instant computer processing. IBM have already managed to perform basic calculations on individual atoms. Computers of this power could build AIs smarter than us, crack any code in seconds, and create computer models that could predict active agents against cancer and AIDS. Or build virtual worlds indistinguishable from real life. Imagine travelling to any place in the universe or visiting any time in history without fear of harm or consequences.
Dodge this.
Does God lead with the starship?
Some of the problems being looked into are ways to produce artificial gravity, recyclable food and water systems, and methods for producing hibernation in humans for long space flights. A Japanese man survived the cold for 24 days without food or water when he fell into a hypothermic state similar to hibernation. Another option would be to design generation ships where the crew's descendants are the ones who reach the destination. New propulsion technologies being looked into are solar sails, a ramjet fusion engine that runs on hydrogen, antimatter engines or warp drives that can rip or fold the fabric of space.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott.
And a proposed tachyon drive might control the space-time surrounding it, enabling you to go anywhere in the universe in seconds. Some believe tiny needle-sized nanoprobes are the most efficient way to colonize space by landing on distant moons. For our own moon, NASA plans a base to be built there by 2020, and based on these results will set its sights to do the same on Mars. And as for the rest of us, Virgin Galactic plan to begin taking commercial passengers on suborbital space flights within the next 2 years.
Look behind you.
Scientists have already successfully moved and assembled objects from individual atoms and grown carbon nanotubes in the lab that will eventually allow us to create material stronger than anything in use today. Other applications might see them injected into the body to repair cell damage or fight disease. Something called rapid prototyping has already been shown to assemble a limited range of 3D objects much like a printer at the push of a button. Combining this with nanotechnology would overcome many of the current restrictions and allow us to create objects from any material. This technology is moving forward at a staggering rate, and some fear the implications of handing over the ability to the public to create literally any object from a set of downloaded plans.
My God, it's full of stars.
Deep below the Swiss-French border lays the most complex machine ever built by humanity. A 17-mile tunnel designed to send protons at close the speed of light smashing into one another. This will enable us to recreate the Big Bang, tiny black holes, and offers a chance to confirm the existence of antimatter and the Higgs boson. It could lead us to discover other dimensions, multiple universes, and perhaps a grand unified theory of everything.
We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people.
In our next episode, we will look at technologies that will threaten the very core promises of the world's religions, as man attempts to control his own mortality and no longer needs the gods to save the world.